basically a thermodynamicist, but I think some of the concepts of thermodynamics are applicable universally. Thermodynamics is two major principles. I won't do more than 3 minutes of thermodynamics, don't get too worried. There are only two major principles. One is the constancy of energy, the second is the ever increasing nature of entropy. In broad terms, you can interpret energy as content. And in broad terms, the change in the entropy increase represents loss. So essentially, what we in chemical engineering in all disciplines do is to ask, if you have so much content, how much of it will be lost? What will be the net useful content or useful work done? So all classical economies have been maximizing this loss, minimizing this loss due to increase in disorder. Entropy, change in the entropy increase represents disorder increase. Because of disorder you have loss. From the content, if you subtract the loss, you get your net profit or net dividend. So you have to minimize the loss. That was the concept of all classical economy. The IT industry came along because the information theorist, Senator Shannon, found out that the formula for entropy, if you do a molecular analysis, is really the same as the formula for information, except with a minus sign. So what happened was entropy, the change in the sign made all the difference. All of a sudden there was a new industry in which there was no content. And this is not a derogatory remark. There is no investment, there is no capital investment, you are not talking of limitation of energy. You are now talking only the second term, which used to be a subtraction of loss. With a minus sign, the loss became an asset. And all you had to do was maximize this asset. So information, all of information theory industry is about maximizing this. Maximizing this means maximizing order. So if you create order, you can create wealth. Creating order by itself creates wealth. And if you have an industry in which you create order, you still create wealth. So that was the concept, and now it seems obvious. And for a long time, of course, we fought the management guys saying, you guys are all form, we are all substance, and form is useless. Till the market started paying more and more for form. And you had recognized it. Then the engineers who had all the content acquired form in order to get good salaries. We finally recognized that both are important. Because even the classical economy, if you subtract off too much loss, you get no profit, whatever. So both the terms are important. And in that sense, this creation of order is very, very important. It's particularly important in industries where the content is small. By content, I mean the capital investment itself is small. Then if you play around with the entropy, if you essentially make mistakes in the ordering, you can get negative profits, which often happens in small industries. So I think this whole concept of using managerial concepts to minimize the loss, especially, is particularly important in the small and medium scale industries. So I think in that context, this is very important, and we have an incubation cell in the research park, but the incubation, this is even before that. When it started, I think Ganesh has been talking about it for a long time. And what happens is that venture capital is readily available in the US. US is one of the few countries where if you fail, you can put it on your biodata. It's a plus point. If you fail 3 times, they give you a better job. Unfortunately, in India, you have to succeed. You can only tell success stories. So you never report any failures unless you're specifically invited to do so in a very small audience and the press promises not to say anything about it. So that's unfortunate, but it's to a large extent true even in Europe. So US just happened to be a country of immigrants and people who were somewhat reactionary. They wanted to think differently from what Europe thought, and under that compulsion they invented some good things. They also had some bad things, but but overall that's the basis of this whole thing. And the small medium industries are really very, very important for India, particularly because of the employment they generate per unit of investment. I think the estimate in small industries is they generate roughly 10 times the employment per unit of investment. So you're really talking of an industry that needs to be revived. We need a very large number of small industries here, but we also need some stability in them. So you have to incubate good ideas, you have to grow them. But I'll also say, as an educationist, I request all the entrepreneurs to first acquire some general knowledge as well. It certainly helps. I mean, the whole purpose of education is to give you a refinement of the mind. And then you have to live, so you go ahead and do your industry-specific thing. By all means, do it well. Whatever you do well. But at the same time, acquire a background. In the background, you don't acquire a background for matlabi reasons. You can pursue your career for matlabi reasons if you like, but initially, acquiring this background has to be done simply for refinement of the mind. And he was much, much farther than you would realize at the moment. I'm talking like a typical old person, but I am an old person, so let me give you this advice. Let me close with just one story. This actually, you might have seen it on Discovery Channel. I don't know if you saw the experiment they did in Kruger Park. About 6-8 years ago, they had too many elephants in Kruger Park and they culled the elephants. They shot all the oldest elephants. Because when they decided they were going to cull the population, they decided the logical thing is to shoot the oldest elephants. So they shot them all, and then 2 years later they suddenly found a mysterious death of rhinos in the park. And then they discovered the rhinos were actually being killed by bull elephants, young bull elephants. Then they discovered they had no way of telling the bull elephants not to kill rhinos. So they went to the neighboring park, brought back old elephants. And after 2 years, the old elephants told the bull elephants not to bother killing the rhinos, and they stopped. So I am making a plea that you not only need young, innovative entrepreneurs, you also need old, wise people to tell the entrepreneurs what not to do. Thank you very much for listening. I want to congratulate Thilayarajan for what he has done. And basically you need enthusiasm of this kind to fire people up. I mean, lots of people have these ideas, but they are all below the surface. So you need a Thilayarajan who passionately tells you a few times and then suddenly you all catch fire. And I hope all of you catch fire. Thank you very much.